evening all. This was going to be a Nintendo 64 collection video, but it's late at night and I've got the lights on in here, and that's got its implications. Those being that I'll have to take all the game boxes out of the protectors, because otherwise there's glare and you can't see what's what. So yeah, I'm the same as everyone else. I put my Nintendo boxes into I think they're like 0.5mm now, aren't they? My Game Vault, those Ranger protectors. So yeah, I'm out here, and well, I say out here, I'm in this room, and I thought, right, instead of doing N64, because that's going to be a long one as well, I will do, because it's been 2 months since I did a video, and the last one was on the it was a VR to Yorkshireman 66, and it was it ended up being like my entire GameCube collection, because it was top 10 GameCubes. His VR, his video, he wanted VRs. It ended up being top 10 any console. I think people sort of gave answers for various different consoles, which was good, but I stuck to GameCube. And at the time I had 11 GameCube games, and I cheated a little bit and mentioned them all. So what I wanted to do was work backwards from that, and the next video was going to be my N64 collection, but as I say, it's not going to work out that way tonight. But I wanted to do something, so I'm going to do my NES collection. The NES is a funny one, because most of my mates and myself all had Master System. And I only actually knew one kid who had a NES, and he lived a couple of doors that way. And yeah, he had like a handful of games, and I probably only played it a handful of times. So not really a lot of nostalgia for the system. But when I started collecting like old consoles again, sort of 5-6 years ago, the NES was one of the first games I bought back. Well, I say bought back, I never owned one. It was one of the first consoles I actually picked up. And it was actually just for one particular game, which I got here, which we'll get to. So let's just crack on. So I've got a few boxed games, and then the majority are loose cart. So the first box game I've got is the obligatory Tetris. It's a little bit sun faded, the top half, but otherwise the box is in quite decent condition. It's just one of them games, isn't it, Tetris? Just synonymous with the NES. I know it's probably equally so, or even more so, with the Game Boy. But Game Boy's another one. Never had one. Never really rated it as a kid, to be honest. Probably knew a couple of people that had one. Didn't really think a lot of it. But that's just me. Anyway, next box game is Paperboy. Now, I know this came out on other computers, such as I think it came out on everything, didn't it, before the NES? All the sort of home computers. But I've always associated Paperboy with the NES. So it was just one of them that I wanted on there. It's probably far from the best version of Paperboy, but I don't know. So I picked this up. It's got the label on it still. Someone paid $19.95 for that from Kerrison's. Don't know where that is, but yeah, nice condition. I do dip into this from time to time. It's quite a hard game, Paperboy. I don't particularly get on with it, but it's in the collection. 3 more box games, and the next one is Wrestlemania. Now, this is the first wrestling game I ever played on any system. The kid a couple of doors along from me had it. Don't really remember a lot about it, apart from it's not very good, to be fair. I've only got it for nostalgia. This one's got a sticker on the back as well, look. game store, Middlesbrough. Anyone recognise the name of that shop? Not going to focus now, is it? Yeah. The only thing memorable about this was I was a kid and I loved Hulk. But yeah, Bam Bam Bigelow was in it as well, and that just sticks out to me, the fact he was in it. So yeah, I was after like a nice copy of this because it's a nostalgic game, and I'm always very limited in what I'm going to buy boxed for the NES, but this was one that I did want boxed because nostalgia's there for it. I should have. I keep a book with everything I've paid for all this stuff. I should have bought that along as well, and perhaps next time, because I think, you know, I don't mind talking about what I've paid for these games. I think we're all in the same boat. We all spend far too much money on this stuff, don't we? It's not a cheap hobby. So yeah, perhaps next time. Right, the next box game I got. Now this is the game that I wanted the system for. Never played it back in the day. Got no nostalgia for it, but it was watching. I don't know. This game just came to my attention somehow, and I decided I like the look of it. I wanted to play it. I'd love to have played it back in the day. So yeah, this is why I bought a NES, and it's Mike Tyson's Punch Out. Now this box is absolutely battered. It's missing the where the hanging tab goes there. It's got no lid. It's got 2 flaps either side have gone. But you don't see a box copy of this come up very often, pal. So when it did, I thought I'd grab it boxed rather than loose cart. I think I paid around 50 quid for this, and this was probably about 6 years ago. Yeah, so I was happy to. Oh, there is one little tab. So there we go. The sole surviving tab up the top there. But this was, if anyone follows Dr. Games on, I think it was Dr. Games on eBay, he lists a lot of Game Boy titles and stuff. But I saw this, I was just checking his listings page one day, and this came up as Mike Tyson's Pinch Out, which sounds like more like a bathroom adventure, doesn't it, than a game. So I wonder if that's how sort of no one has snapped it up, because no one would have been searching for a Pinch Out. So yeah, it was going for about 50 quid, and I grabbed it. And yeah, this is a really addictive game. If you've not played this game, it's about learning like sequences. It's not a button basher. It's you've got to learn the sequences. You've got to figure things out, and each time you play it, you learn a little bit more, and you can get a little bit further along the tournament. I'm trying to think how far I've got. I've not got to Mike Tyson yet. I think I got to the fight before him, but I've not played this in about 3 or 4 years. So it's definitely one to go back to. But yeah, for me, that is worth having a NES for by itself. And I've got one more box game. Right, this is RBI Baseball, and this is a US import, and I'm not really too sure why I got this. I saw it listed, and I heard that this is like a classic baseball game, and I am on the hunt for a baseball game. I've got my eye on Mario Baseball on the Cube, but that is, you're paying 80 quid for that in CEX if you're lucky enough to find it. Probably a bit more on eBay. So I'm not in any rush to get that. As it stands, I'm lazy sod, and I've still not chipped my NES so that I can play import games, but I will get round to doing that. So that's it for the boxed, and now we're just going to fly through the loose carts. Now so the loose cart of some of the box games are going to be here as well, but I'll show them and I'll move on. So there's Tetris. These are all in dust sleeves. There's Paperboy. is Mike Tyson's Punch Out. It's got a little nick on the top of the label there. The lighting here is not great, and neither's my phone camera, so whether it will show up or not, I'm not too sure. Just take my word for it, there's a nick on there. Running out of there's no space in here, so I don't know where to put stuff. Right, had to make a little jump cut because everything just went crashing down. There's just no space in this room at all, so had a little disaster there, but I think we're good to crack on. So next game is Mario Brothers 3. For me, because I weren't a NES boy, I think it's a good game. Don't get me wrong, I can see how far along that's come from the first Mario Brothers, which incidentally, while we're talking about the first one, that is downstairs. I've got the obligatory Mario Bros Duck Hunt Double Kart. That's downstairs in the NES, which I've not gone and got. I can't be bothered to go and get it because that'll mean another jump cut. But take my word for it, you know, it's not a holy grail item. That it's downstairs. So yeah, this is obviously a better game than the first one. Possibly not nostalgically for a lot of people who still prefer the first one. I do recognise what a sort of you know, if people say that this is the best Mario game and the best game on the NES, I'm not going to argue with them. But for me, the first Mario game that I really got into was Super Mario World. But that's for another video. So yeah, this is good. I've never completed it. I tend to play this more on the NES Mini, which is a good thing in some ways, but in other ways it's not a good thing, because the ability to constantly save your game, you know, you finish a hard jump and you're saving the game, it's not, you know, people played and completed this back in the day without all that, so it feels a little bit naughty playing it like that. But you know, I'm not a very good Mario player, to be honest, and if that's the way, you know, I've got to get through a game, then so be it. But I have picked this up for the NES. I would like to play this and play it properly. So yeah, we'll see. Next up is Monster in My Pocket. Good platformer. Not really stuck a lot of time into it. I've probably had this, I think I picked this up last year. Really got it because I loved the toys as a kid. Absolutely loved the toys. Now I remember Rob Gernardino was doing like he was opening some Monster in My Pockets on camera, which was good to watch. I've still got a full set, the Series 1, which I've managed to keep hold of. It got slung up in the loft, the box of them. So that's possibly another video, another time. They're some of my favourite childhood toys. So I had to have the game. Never played it back in the day, but a good platformer. I haven't really got a lot to say about a lot of these NES games, to be fair. Wild Gunman, I like the look of it. Played it a few times. Good light gun game. But not, you know, not played it a ton. Probably paid about 20 quid for that when I picked it up a few years ago. Next up is Turtles. Yeah, this game's a bit tricky. I think everyone knows about this game. It's a bit odd, isn't it? It's not really true to the cartoon. It's a bit of a balls hard, a bit of a cheap game in a lot of ways. You know, in terms of like the, I don't mean cheap as what it goes for. I mean sort of it's just not the best made game, I don't think. But I did play this on I think I played this on my dad's Atari ST, like the sort of equivalent of it, and I do remember liking it as a kid, but I just couldn't get very far in it. So yeah, I remember Retro Dave made quite an amusing video of this back in the day, trying to play this. It is a frustrating game. Next up is the next one along in the series, and it is Turtles 2, the arcade game. I did not want to make another jump cut. Hopefully this will be the last one. I was talking about this Turtles 2, the arcade game. The reason I wanted this is because I didn't have a lot of exposure to the arcades as a kid, but I did used to play the Turtles arcade, which I think is the same as this. I think this is a port of it. I do remember playing that, and that was at Cascades Leisure Centre in Gravesend. So Game Zone Bird Room, I know you've talked about that place a few times. So yeah, I was there as well, and that's one of the arcade games I remember playing back in the day. It's not as good as Turtles in Time, but it was alright. So happy to have the NES equivalent. Next up is Blades of Steel. Played this a little bit. I like the sort of idea of it, I think, more than the game. An ice hockey game where you can bash the shit out of each other, and I think the idea is possibly a little bit better than the execution, but I'm probably a bit of a harsh critic because I don't particularly rate the NES. Master System was my system, my 8-bit system back in the day, and I think it's the better of the two. So I'm, looking back, 30 years on, I don't think a lot of these games really quite do it for me, but happy to have this one nonetheless. Right, this is another game that I've got purely on reputation, YouTube hype, and it's Batman. So everyone on the tube seems to love this game, and I've watched gameplays of it, and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a crack, and it's all right. It's balls hard. I've not really got very far into it yet, but that's probably because I've not spent a lot of time on it. Just going to fly through these last ones. So next up is DuckTales. Now this right, I'm going to do two of these at the same time. So these two, so DuckTales and Chip and Dale, they came with the I bought an action set, local pickup, and these two came with it, but not these exact two, because all the games that came with the local pickup I chopped in, and then I kind of sort of watching YouTube videos and stuff and looking at reviews of these, they sounded like decent platformers, so I regretted it a little bit, and I bought these two back in a bundle deal. So both of these came together, I think they were about 20 quid for the two. So I'm going to give them a crack, give them a try. Right, so there's RBI Baseball, and this, I think, this is a Tengen game, so you can get this black cart. And I know that Pete Fighter 2 is collecting sort of a Tengen black cart subset, but oddly enough, I've got the sort of standard grey edition NTSE. Top of the label's a bit ripped, unfortunately. Might try and patch that up if I can. So the last game I've got is James Bond Jr. I used to watch a cartoon of this, and I like James Bond, and that seemed reason enough to pick the game up. And also, it's weird collector's thing, but it had a green label on the top, and I was missing the green label when they're all sort of stacked and facing out. So a green label, James Bond Jr. Used to watch a cartoon, and I like James Bond. That seemed 3 reasons enough to pick the game up. So figure that logic out. But yeah, that is it. That is my little NES collection. This was supposed to be an N64 collection video, but as I say, that weren't going to happen tonight. But I thought, fuck it. The phone set up, and it's been 2 or 3 months since I put video out, so let's do a NES collection. So cheers everyone. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.